notices of commencement. We've taken a sidetrack right now. Talking about notices of commencement now, I'm going to give you an example so that you understand what a notice of commencement really does. In this example, we see that the notice of commencement was recorded on January 1st. That means that somebody was about to start work and do construction somewhere around January 1st on this project. That's when they went to pull the permit. Then comes in a bank lending money against this property. So the owner needs some money to go ahead and do the work. Usually the money comes first, but just take this scenario. So this is to help explain what the notice of commencement does. So you got the notice of commencement on January 1st, and you got the bank coming in on February 1st loaning money. Then there's you. You've been doing work somewhere between January 1st and March 1st. You find out that you're not going to be paid, and you record a lien. You record a lien on March 1st. How many people think, and this is a priority question, who comes first? Because let's assume that everything goes down badly now. Everybody's looking to foreclose against this owner. Nobody's getting paid. The bank is moving to foreclose, and you're moving to foreclose on that property. You're moving to enforce your lien. The bank's moving to enforce its mortgage and its promissory note. The question is going to be is who gets paid first. So this is a priority question right now that I'm asking you. Because if the bank comes first, and let's say they have the property is only worth $100,000, and they loan $200,000, well, the bank's going to get paid first. There's not going to be anything left for you. So let's talk about this. The mortgage now. We got the bank here on February 1st, the lien on March 1st. In this case, and we got the notice of commencement on January 1st. In this case, who has priority? The bank with the mortgage, or you with the lien? We got one for the, all right, how many people think the bank? Just raise your hands. 1, 2, 3. Okay, anybody else? So who thinks the contractor has priority? All right, 3. All right, well, the answer is that the contractor has priority under this scenario. And this helps explain what a notice of commencement is. The notice of commencement allows this lien to relate back to the notice of commencement. This allows you to jump back in front of that mortgage, that bank, so that your lien actually does not take priority as of March 1st, but it takes place effective January 1st. That's the purpose of a notice of commencement. That's why they're important. They only help you. And that's why, remember when I said, when I put in these notices of commencement that they expire 1 year? No, I put 5 years, 10 years. Okay? Because just in case this project's going to last a long time, I want to make sure that this thing doesn't automatically expire in a year. Meanwhile, my litigation's going on. Because there's no way my litigation's going to get done in a year. Or especially since maybe you're leaning on the 11th month. Maybe you're leaning after the notice of commencement already automatically expired. It's your own fault, you drafted it. Okay, scenario number 2. Put your hand over the notice of commencement. Let's assume it's not even there. The mortgage or the lien, which comes first? The mortgage. Because you don't have that benefit of the notice of commencement. So when does your lien actually, when is the priority date? The date that your lien actually takes effect is March 1st, if there's no notice of commencement. If there is a notice of commencement, it's January 1st. Now, let's assume that we've got 3 contractors. Everybody places a lien. March 1st, April 1st, and whatever, November 1st. Everything's all after this, all afterwards. Those liens are all going to relate back to the notice of commencement date and take effect as of January 1st. And they're all going to share pro rata. Okay? If there is no notice of commencement, first and right, first in time. Whoever gets there first, it's a race. So make sure that notice of commencement is out there, make sure it's recorded, and make sure that it doesn't automatically expire in a few years. 1 year. Next thing. Frequently, there will be a lender that comes to you and says, look, or the owner is going to come to you, or a title company is going to come to you, and they're going to say, can you please terminate this notice of commencement? You don't understand what the purpose is. They say it's going to help the owner. It's going to get him money. That doesn't mean it's going to get you money. All that's going to do is it's going to lose you. You're going to now lose your priority. What they're trying to tell you is and you don't know this, is we're going to take away your priority. We're going to lend money. We're going to strip the property out from the equity that it has in it. And you now, if you lien, your lien is going to be effective whenever you record it, but we're going to be before you now. So just make sure that if you do get asked to terminate that notice of commencement, and that's your notice of commencement, make sure that you give releases of liens and that you get paid up to that date, or somehow they put aside enough money for you to get paid for the rest of the project. That somehow there's some sort of assurances for you that you're going to get paid. So we're going to go back to number 7, determining mandatory notice requirements and timing, now that we've already talked about notices of commencement. Again, this is just a quick reference for you just to know your timelines. As far as notice to owners are concerned, I don't care if you serve that notice to owner on me today and you don't actually start the work until 3 years from now. You can serve it before, anytime. That's not a problem. Serve it as soon as possible. That's no problem. It's great. The problem that you come into is here. Here is your deadline, and it's called deadline for a reason, because you're dead if you pass it. Notice to owners can be served no later than 45 days after commencing. Okay? And we're going to talk about the exclusions. We're going to talk later on about the exclusions for laborers, professionals, subdivision improvements, and contractors in direct contract with the owner. But anyway, if you're serving a notice to owner, and you're required to serve a notice to owner no later than 45 days after commencement. And again, if you're a specially manufactured or fabricator of goods, then make sure that your time for commencement actually begins as soon as you start fabricating. If you're a material supplier, technically it's when it's actually delivered to the project, but again, if you're selling things over the counter, make sure you get it done as soon as possible. You don't want there to be any questions. The next two have to do with bonds. There's notice to contractor. It's usually a document that's it's combined with the notice to owner. Usually they're put in the same form. It's almost the same thing as a notice to owner. Serve it no later than 45 days after commencing again. Usually the place you find the bond is it's attached to the notice of commencement as well. If you don't know about if the bond is not attached to the notice of commencement, then you still have 45 days to serve this notice to contractor from the time that you find out about it. Notice of non-payment. Let's assume that you're not getting paid and you're going to be looking toward the bond that's on the project. Then you have to serve a notice of non-payment within 90 days from the last day of work. And 90 days of last furnishing any labor, services, or material to the project. Who gets the notices? This is how I try to keep it straight in my mind, and that is follow the money, follow the chain directly up to that owner. Look at the notices of commencement. I try to give it to everybody in that notice of commencement because I want everybody to know in the world that I need to be paid. And you never know whose mind and whose attention you're going to trigger to get you paid. It may be a lender out there that says, hey, why is this guy giving me a notice to owner? I don't know. They're not getting paid, obviously. Notice to owners are not a cloud on title. Let me also talk to you about what a notice to owner is. Actually, we'll talk about that on the next page. But anyway, I like to give everybody notice right up the chain. So if I'm a subcontractor, I'm going to give the notice to the subcontractor, I'm going to give it to the contractor, and I'm going to give it to the owner. If I'm a material man, I'm going to give it to the subcontractor, I'm going to give it to the contractor, and I'm going to give it to the owner. I try to give it to as many people as possible. Claim of lien. Since about 1991, and I don't know why, I still see cases coming